Hello everybody and welcome to my basic guide for 20 minutes till dawn. I'm Icon and this video will wrap up everything you need to know to enjoy this game. I'm gonna explain all the mechanics, I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks to get better along, and of course I'll give you a general impression of what this game is all about so you can decide for yourself whether you'll like it or not. There are timestamps in the description box below, so if you're looking for a specific topic, go check it out. If you don't find the timestamp or the answer you're looking for, leave me a comment and I'll see what I can do. This game is early access after all, so I think this video will see a redo sooner or later. So, let's get started with a brief summary. The game, 20 Minutes Till Dawn, is a classic top-down roguelike shooter. You get to select a character, you get to select a gun, and then, like the name implies, your job is to survive 20 minutes. Unlike other games in the genre that have been popular quite recently, you're not automatically fighting, you're shooting on your own, you're reloading on your own, and you get a nifty skill upgrade system. So every monster drops XP. Once you level up, you get to select new skills, you grow more powerful, and once you die, you gain some permanent currency that you can spend for more power, more characters, more different guns. Pretty classic game principle, but you know, there's nothing wrong with it because it's perfectly executed and it's a lot of fun. Now, between all these things, there's not much more to summarize. The game is very simple in its basics, very easy to pick up, but boy is it hard to master. What's worth mentioning here is you have this passive progression system, but you also have a system of rising difficulty levels. So basically, whenever you survive the game once, you can notch up the difficulty a tad bit, which serves for a lot of replayability. And like I mentioned, early access, so there's still more to come. Okay. With that out of the way, let's quickly talk about the user interface and the controls. There's not much to explain, so this will be done quick. Up here, the hearts are your hit points. Whenever you get hit, you lose one, goes to 0, you're dead. Bullet count, first number is your current bullets, second number is your maximum bullets. You reload by pressing R, you shoot by pressing the left mouse button, you move with WASD. In the upper right corner, you see how long you'll have to survive. And, you know, that's pretty much all you need to know about the user interface. That's a wonderful thing. So let's talk about the skill system next. So you see, every monster drops one of these green droplets, and whenever you have picked up enough of them, you see on the top side that level 2 bar fills up with every droplet that we pick up, and once it's full, we get a level up. So the skill system works like that. Every skill opens up into an entire branch. So there's a baseline skill, Frost Mage, and once you have that, with the next level up, you have a chance to get these 2 upgrades. Either one of these or both of these. Once you have one of these upgrades, you have a chance to get either the missing upgrade out of this tier or the last upgrade. So basically, you can pick up all 4 skills of a upgrade tree if you want to, but you don't need to. You can also only pick up the 3 skills there. What's worth mentioning is this is always the weakest skill. These are already more powerful, and these skills are usually top-notch. So whenever you want to pick up skills, always check out the entire skill wheel, not only the entrance skill, because most of the time the entrance skill isn't that interesting at all. The more important and interesting stuff comes down there, and therefore check them out completely. Note that nothing here is mutually exclusive. You can pick up all the skills out of one wheel, no problem. But you should know one thing, the moment you pick up one of those skill trees, your drop pool gets more and more diluted, because, you know, I pick up Frost Mage and I get 2 new possible drops, and therefore, if you want to specialize your build, try to not pick up too many different paths, but about that more in a minute. I want to talk about another thing now first. Let's pick up the light weaponry, why not? And that's the synergy system. When you press escape, you see here the synergies, and they are part of the skill system as well. So synergies, you see here a catalog of this of the currently existing synergies in the game. I expect more of these to show up when the development follows. And as you see here, these are very specific things. The red colored font here is the name of the skill. Below that are the requisites. So if we have the skills Siege and Fusillade, we can learn Stand Your Ground. You don't automatically learn Stand Your Ground when you have these two skills. This is the unlock. So once you have Siege and Fusillade, you would be able to unlock that on your next level up if you get lucky in the drops. And there's a couple of synergies existing right now. I expect more of these to show up once the game goes deeper in development, and they are very, very specialized. So here, Mini Clip is a wonderful example. Max ammo minus 666, so you're basically only shooting once. For some weapons, that's awesome. For some weapons, it's a nightmare. But there you see, specialization is, and thinking forward is a very important part about the skill system. Okay, I don't have much more to add into that. The next thing I want to talk about is the tips and tricks I was promising to you. So let's start out with the most basic things, the things you might be disappointed with. Jokes aside, I really want to talk about pathing. Whenever you play this game, always try to move in a way that you're able to pick up your experience droplets. It's really important, and it has happened to me several times in the past that I managed to not get it done to pick up my experience. So really try to pave around there. It's really important because leveling up constantly, picking up experience constantly is extremely important, because the longer you survive, the tougher the enemies will grow. So the next thing I want to talk about is don't pick too many different skills. I already mentioned it a moment before, but I want to deepen that. And whenever you pick an upgrade, check out the other things, compare it to your current character, and compare it to your weapon, and think about whether you'll like it or not and how much you'll like it. Or you just blind pick and have fun. That's also very eligible, but if you want to make the game easier for you, just pick up 2 or 3 different skill trees that work well together, that have synergies with each other. It'll take a while. I'll recommend you to just pick blindly first, just what sounds good, and the longer you play it, try to minimize the different skill trees and maximize the synergies between the skill trees. That's something you'll be working on for a longer period of time for sure, but it's really worth your time. It'll make your life a lot easier. The other thing I want to talk about are those trees. The trees here are, as you see, bumping you backwards, but they don't hurt you while doing so. That's a pretty interesting thing, and as a matter of fact, you can also use those trees as a last resort, because they'll always bump you backwards. As you saw there right now, I just sassily moved through these enemies while using this. Of course, you should be very careful with that. Most of the time you'll be bringing yourself into more trouble than anything else, but you can use it. It's not really obvious, and I wanted to point it out. Another thing that I want to talk about is when you're building your character, try to think about whether you want to focus on your guns or summons or conditions. So the game features like upgrades for weapons, upgrades for summons. You see that dagger flying around, that's for example a summon, and also upgrades for conditional effects, like there's burn and ice right now in the game. I'd strongly recommend you to try to focus into one of these 3 aspects if you want to start out and you're new to the game, because this way there are basically 3 different schools of how you do your thing, and they'll help. It really helps out a lot if you just specialize into one of these, or notice where these different branches, like I don't know, elemental conditions and weapon upgrades sometimes go well together, have some synergies. Keep an eye out for that, but seriously, specializing is very, very valuable in this game. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is bosses. Every so many minutes in this game, a boss monster spawns. There should be one coming up any minute. And there are 2 different types of bosses in the game. There's the more passive ones, which only have a red outlining, like this fella here, and he's basically just the same as all his other buddies. He's merely more tanky than the other enemies, as you see here, and what's most important there is he's also going to drop something new we haven't seen yet, and that's a chest. Inside those chests you'll find upgrades that are specific to your character. Chest loot is always dropping an upgrade that fits to your character. Here we see Shayna, Quick Learner, that's my current character, increases experience gain by 40%. You can also say no to these if you don't want to have them. It's really worth mentioning, but most of the time you really want to have them. As far as I see things, most of these upgrades are beneficial to you, but sometimes you're either not working with them, and you can also turn them down if they massively screw you over. There's another type of boss in the game that'll be much more aggressive. The first one will spawn at the 15-minute mark, and these bosses, when you manage to kill them, will drop yet another item, tomes. Tomes are different than these skills out of the chests. Tomes are presented with a choice of one of three for you, and they always come with a big benefit and a big downside at the same time. So for example, I had one that gave my summons a massive bump up in damage, but my bullets would have been a lot weaker, and you can already imagine what I'm implying there. So all in all, these bigger bosses will give you the ability to specialize your build even further. And whatever is the case, try to kill these bosses. When you're not able to kill these bosses, your damage is too low, or you really need to study their pattern a little bit more, practice at it a little bit more, because killing these bosses is extremely important. You don't want to miss out on these upgrades because they are just so good, and when you're not able to kill them, this is a very good sign that your build is lacking damage. That's one thing that you see, you can't always take these bosses as, I don't know, benchmark tests, so to say, whether your build is working out or not. I really like to do this because this gives me a good metric whether things are working out or not. Beyond that, well, there's not that much more I can add. I really want to point out that you can't lose anything in this game. You only gain something. When you die, you'll gain souls for survival time, killed enemies, and earned levels, so seriously, don't ever, and that's the last tip here of this section, don't ever shy away from trying out something. Try out a new crazy new build. You see an upgrade and you wonder, like, would this be cool? Just try it out, because experimentation is a lot of the fun in this game, and don't hustle too hard in finding the perfect build. Experiment around, different guns, different characters, different upgrades. There's so much to discover, and you'll enjoy yourself a ton. Okay, now, let's get into the progression system as the last part of this tutorial. So, as you see here, we're earning souls after each run. And these souls can be spent to unlock new characters. As you see here, every character also has a very unique skill. So Shayna can reroll upgrades once per level. This way you can specialize your build even better. Diamond has high HP, and so on and so forth. And like I mentioned, they all have different upgrades out of those chests. You also get to unlock different guns, and they are very, very wildly different. To give you an impression, the bat gun shoots bats that chase down enemies and are both bullets and summons, or you get the flame cannon, which deals almost no damage but sets enemies on fire. You have the crossbow, which only deals a ton of damage when you stand still, so there's really a lot of different things to try out and enjoy. Really cool stuff. Try to unlock them as quick as you can, because seriously, the devs are really creative with the stuff they bring up there. Now, over here is also the rune section. That's the other part where you can upgrade yourself. So you can spend your runes also for sword and shield skills. As you see here, there's rank 1, there are 4 different tiers. You can always only equip one of these skills of each tier, as you see here, and each of these skills has 5 levels, and goes without saying. Sword skills are offensive skills, shield skills are defensive skills, and at the end of the day, you're able to equip 4 of these at once. I personally would recommend to a newcomer the shield skills first. For example, I'm a big fan of Vigilance. Vision range, by the way, is the lit circle right around you, and some skills interact with that. The slightly gray circle around you is not your vision range, only the lit white circle, and pickup range goes without saying. So the upgrades here are some are very generic, like here fire rate and reload rate, and others are very specific. So for example, start the game with HP half and max half HP, and you gain more damage because you're playing glass cannon, or you start the skill with one, you start the game with one skill already unlocked and a high bonus to the skill specifically. So there's really a lot of things that you can enjoy there, and a lot of runes that you can invest there. I personally leave it up to you how you want to put it up. There's a lot to unlock and a lot to discover all in all. What I also want to showcase here as a last thing before I leave you with a decision whether you'll buy the game or whether you'll dive into the game if you already own it. So here, the last thing, you can here unlock higher darkness levels, and you can also just play the same thing in 10 minutes, but that's gonna be harder too. Okay, so I hope you guys found that helpful, and I really would be happy if you leave me just some comments down below if you want to add in some strategy or some tip that you find pretty hot that I haven't mentioned here, or if you have a question you might want to ask. I'd be down. Also, leave me a thumbs up about this video if you enjoyed, and consider subscribing to the channel. There's daily content coming up from my side, and you'd be not missing anything furthermore. Also, check out the description box. There's not only the timestamps I've been talking about, but also you'll find a link to my Discord channel, to my Twitch channel where I stream quite regularly, and also ways and means to support the channel directly. Because, you know, I'll be always doing free content. There's never going to be paywalled content from my side, and I can use all the support I can get. Be that as it may, I thank you so much for listening to me until this very moment. I hope you will have a great day, and see you soon. Bye-bye.